Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. I am Joe, and I'm your host every Tuesday evening right here in WNRI 99.9 on the FM dial, 1380 on the AM dial, and of course we're streaming at WNRI.com. You can listen to us there without any paywall. We also rebroadcast the show Saturdays at 1 p.m. So if you can't check out the whole show tonight, you can listen in on Saturday afternoon starting at 1 p.m. This is a show for you, the average consumer. I don't get into any technical verbiage or techniques to buy and sell, invest, flip, wholesale, anything like that. I try to keep it as simple but valuable for the average consumer, whether it's someone who owns a home or wants to own a home, or wants to sell a home. Maybe you've inherited a home and you don't know what to do. You don't know where to start. I have a team of lenders, attorneys, financial advisors, accountants, contractors, tradesmen, landscapers that I can refer you to give you the help that you need or guidance, okay? So if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to me, your humble host, Joe Luca, Luca, Realtor at RE/MAX 401-409-5030. That's my number, 401-409-5030. You can also text me at that number, 401-409-5030. And I'll answer any questions you have, even if you're not looking to list your home for sale. You want to go it on your own, you want to be a for sale by owner, no problem. I will actually give you a package of information that will help you, assist you in selling your home in a safe manner, okay? But all you have to do is ask, okay? And again, it's Joe Luca, 401-409-5030. I work with buyers and sellers of real estate, commercial and residential real estate. I help them also lease commercial real estate. We're actually going to be listing a nice property in Cranston probably in the next week or so. If you know anyone looking for a place to locate or a new business or relocate an existing business, they can reach out to me and give me a call. Tonight, I want to talk about something, I've been, obviously, real estate is my life, so I follow what's going on in the news, and not just the news, like the general news, but kind of like the nitty-gritty news, the stuff where you kind of drill down and learn more about the inside baseball part of real estate. And I was listening to a report or reading something, and I was curious about, PMI. Now, PMI, when you get a mortgage, if you're not putting down, a substantial amount, it's 10 to 20%, usually it's closer to 20%, you have to pay what's called PMI, Private Mortgage Insurance, which essentially it's like foreclosure insurance, because if you're not putting a good amount of money down, the theory is you may not have a lot to lose, air quotes, so you would be more likely to walk away from the home if you couldn't make your payments. You wouldn't make any extra effort to keep your house. And the banks, of course, don't want to. They're not in the real estate business. They don't like to foreclose on properties. It's expensive for them. And they're not set up to do it, because then they have to manage the property. Okay, they're not property managers, so then they have to hire property managers, and it gets all kinds of messy. And that's why we have PMI, Private Mortgage Insurance. So if you've gotten an FHA loan, a Rhode Island housing loan, a Freddie Mac loan, where you're putting down 3.5%, 5% down, you are most likely paying PMI. And that could be anywhere from $100 a month to several $100s a month. Okay. If you have a VA loan, you're definitely not paying private mortgage insurance, because that's one of the benefits of a VA loan. So if you are active military or a veteran and you'd like to buy a home, it's a fantastic program. They're very accommodating when it comes to credit history. You put no money down, and you don't have to pay private mortgage insurance. Okay, so, and the interest rates are good. So like as of today, speaking of interest rates, going to mortgagenewsdaily.com, The 30-year fixed rate is 6.31. The FHA for 30 years is 6.03, and the VA is 6.05. So it's still well below that regular conventional interest rate of 6.31. Okay, so the VA loan is a great loan program. But if you don't have that and you didn't put 20% down when you bought your house, you're probably paying private mortgage insurance, PMI. Now, while exact national statistics are pretty tough to pin down, a lot of the industry experts estimate that a very significant portion of homeowners who are paying PMI, private mortgage insurance, potentially 20 to 30%, may already have more than 20% equity in their home. And that's usually the cutoff point. Like if you don't have 20% equity, we've got to pay PMI. So let's say, hypothetically, you bought your house with an FHA loan in 2021, okay, during the COVID situation. And let's say you put 3.5% down, so you started paying PMI. Well, since then, home prices have gone up conservatively 50% in Rhode Island and in southern Massachusetts. So you have more than 20% equity in your home. You could cancel PMI, but many of the programs don't allow you to cancel the PMI. So even if you went and you paid for an appraisal and the appraisal showed you have 35% equity in your home, you may not be able to cancel. The only way to get out from under that is to refinance. Now, of course, if you bought your house back then, you may have an interest rate that's, 3, 4, 5% range. Now you're going to refinance, assuming it's an owner-occupied single-family home that you're going to live in. You're going to be paying anywhere from 6.03 for an FHA to 6.31 for a conventional. Okay, so you're going to have to do the math, because if your payment's going to be at the higher interest rate, $500 a month more, and you're only paying $300 a month in PMI, you're better off paying the PMI. Okay, so it's something that you want to think about. So, this is a quick lesson why this happens. A lack of awareness. Many homeowners don't realize they can request PMA cancellation in some instances when they reach 20% equity. Okay, they don't even ask to find out. You may be able to. Many times you can't, but it's worth asking. As I mentioned, home value appreciation. Okay, rising property values have pushed the amount of equity in equity positions of a lot of owners much greater than 20%. Okay, and automatic cancellation rules. A lot of people assume that it will automatically be canceled, but it's not necessarily so. And if it is, it may only automatically cancel if you pay in 20% of the original loan amount, so that creates your equity. It doesn't factor in. The automatic cancellation does not account for appreciation. So if you bought, in my example, if you bought the house in 2021, maybe you paid in, let's say, another 5% or 7% in equity, which means the amount of your monthly payment, a certain portion of that is going towards principal and taking down the amount of principal you owe on your mortgage. So let's say that amount is 7%, okay? That would have to equal 20% in many instances for the automatic cancellation of PMI, okay? You can request it when your equity reaches 80%. Now, depending on the loan, your loan may not qualify, so you may be forced to refinance. But it's worth finding out. Now, what I would suggest is reach out to your original loan officer. If you don't know who that is, and you give me a call at 401-409-5030, or send me a text at that number, I will certainly help you out and find the right person for you to talk to at your mortgage company, because there's a very good chance that the mortgage was sold from your original mortgage company to someone else over the past 4 or 5 years. Okay, But if you're not sure if you've crossed the 20% equity threshold, I can help you with that. I can give you an indication of where you are, and then we can check the loan to value using your current home value estimate. Okay, so I would go to your home, look at what's going on in the marketplace, and see how your home compares to the other homes that have been selling recently, and if necessary, provide what's called a broker price opinion. Sometimes the lender will request an appraisal, and I can direct you towards an appraiser, and then we can, take the steps from there. So if you would like help estimating your current equity or how to draft a request to your lender, let's say you don't know how to start, give me a call. I'll help you out. 401-409-5030, Joe Luca, Luca. If you forget my number, Google me, Joe Luca Realtor, and you'll find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Plenty of ways to find me. YouTube. Okay. Now, if you are a home buyer, or you're aspiring to become a home buyer, and you hear about all of these programs that require so much money. Now, bear in mind, the median price of a home in Rhode Island, a single-family home, is over $500,000. So even at 3.5% down, you're looking at a hefty chunk of change. That's close to $20,000 right there. I think it's 17,500, something like that. If my math is quick. My quick math is correct. But there are options. There may be opportunities for you to obtain down payment assistance. There are programs available. Sometimes they're directly or in partnership with government agencies and nonprofits, which can help home buyers cover upfront costs. Okay. Now I know U.S. Bank offers programs. They have a program called the Access Home Loan and American Dream Loan. They partner with housing finance agencies like Mass Housing and Rhode Island Housing, municipalities, nonprofits. Sometimes these are realized in the way of grants or zero-interest second mortgages, deferred or forgivable loans, or mortgage credit certificates, which we don't really run across those too much here. Bank of America, they have America's Home Grant, which is up to $7,500 toward closing costs. They have a down payment grant program up to 3% of the home price to a maximum of $10,000. And then there's also the Affordable Loan Solution, fixed rate mortgage with as little as 3% down. Many of these programs, if they're available where you're looking to buy, do have income guidelines. Okay, so you can't make too much money. And then in addition to that, there are a lot of regional and local banks and credit unions and mortgage companies that also offer down payment assistance programs, also called DPA programs, or participate in programs offered by state and local initiatives. Because sometimes municipalities offer programs too. Maybe they have an aggressive grant writer in that city or town, and they allocate, oh wait, we've got a grant for $200,000 to help low-income home buyers in this town or that city. Okay, and then of course we mentioned the state programs through Rhode Island Housing and Mass Housing. Okay, now to find out about these and if you would qualify, all you have to do is, guess what? Give me a call or send me a text, 401-409-5030, and then I'll give you some guidance. Okay, I can email you all the information that you'd be looking for. We're going to have to sit down. We'll have a virtual meeting face-to-face over the computer and talk about what your wants are, your needs are. I'll answer any questions you have. I'll ask you a lot of questions, and then we'll find out if what you're looking for, what you could qualify for, if it makes sense. Now, just because it may not make sense or be possible today, that doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. All right. One thing that never changes about the real estate market is it's always changing. There are new mortgage programs coming out. There are new grant programs available. Prices are changing. The laws and guidelines change, so there always could be an opportunity for you to obtain financing at some point in the future, even though you may not be able to do it right now. Now, something else I wanted to talk a little bit about is for homeowners. Let's say you're a homeowner and you want to sell your home. And you call me up, hey Joe, you call me 401-409-5030. Joe, I'm thinking about selling my home. I don't know what I should do to make my home saleable so I can maximize the price I get for my home. Great. Now, usually what ends up happening is what people think they should do have to do to sell their home and what they should do in reality to sell their home are two different things. And usually people think they need to do more to their home to receive maximum value than they otherwise should. So I encourage you to have a conversation with me or a full-time experienced real estate professional that you know to give you some guidance, okay? Because you may not need to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 on the house, because if you do, that may only increase the sales price $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000. Save yourself the time and aggravation, and maybe do some things that will cost less but increase the value of the house even more. Okay, there are three things that give you more bang for the buck when making repairs to your home. And if you've been listening to this show for any time over the past 12 years, you know the answer. 1, garage doors. 2, front door. 3, roof. Those are the three things. For every dollar you spend replacing those, that will increase the value of your home, the sales price of your home, more than that, at over $1. If you put a new kitchen and a new bathroom in, things like that, it's unlikely that you're going to increase the sales price more than you're spending. Now, if you're replacing a kitchen or a bathroom from 1962, okay. But again, you don't want to spend $100,000 putting a new bathroom or a new kitchen in. You need to set limits, because you just want to increase the value of the home up to the point that a prospective buyer could afford. What does that mean, Joe? So, for example, you've got a house, you've been living there 50 years, okay? You bought it when it was 10 years old, so the kitchen is from 1965. Never did anything, everything works fine, you're like me, you don't spend money unnecessarily so, but when you look at the kitchen now, it screams 1965. It's clean, it's neat, but it screams 1965. Now, if you had a 1965 kitchen and you were living in a ritzy part of any given town, you could spend more updating your kitchen than you should spend if you were not in a ritzy part of town. So if you're in like the middle, if your neighborhoods are in a level of 1, 2, and 3, 3 being the best, and if you're in the neighborhood that's a 3, yeah, spend more money. If you're in a 2 or a 1, don't spend more money, because the prospective buyers who can only afford to live in the neighborhoods that are a 1 or a 2 are not going to be willing to, or you're not going to attract buyers who can afford to spend the extra money for that kitchen. Okay. Hopefully this makes sense. If it doesn't, give me a call, 401-769-0600, and I'll go through it with you on the phone. You can give me a call here at the station, WNRI 99.9 FM, 1380 on the AM dial, and streaming at WNRI.com, 401-769-0600 if you have questions and would like further explanation for what I just talked about. So there are things, you want. Sometimes you need to spend money, but you don't need to spend a lot of money. Okay, let's say you've got carpets. The carpets are worn out. They're stretched out, so they've got those ripples in them. The foam under the carpet, that's really worn out. It feels like you're walking on cement. Okay, that's something you want to replace. But you don't need to replace it with carpet that's, top shelf. You need it to look good and to feel good. And there's a certain price point where you can achieve that objective without spending a ridiculous amount of money. I have in my Rolodex, in my contact list, in my database, I have installers who can do that, and they'll be honest with you. They say, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, this is all you should spend for what you're trying to accomplish. Okay, you don't need to spend a lot of money on a carpet that's going to last 20 years if you're only going to be there for another 8 weeks. You just need it to look good, smell good, feel good. Okay, so that's something you would want to consult with a real estate professional like your humble host, so that you don't spend more money than you need to. Because ideally, when you sell your house, you want to be able to walk away with maximum money in your pocket. Okay. Now let's say you need to make these changes. Okay. Put new carpets in. You need to do a minor update on your kitchen. You need to put new roof on. Okay. Let's say the roof is at the end of its life, but you don't have the money. What do? Well, there are programs for homeowners to upgrade or repair their homes to sell them. One, if you live in a rural district, the USDA has programs that are available for you. Okay. So if you live in a rural district, so that would be parts of Massachusetts, that would be Cumberland, Lincoln, Smithfield, North Smithfield, Burrville, Foster, Gloucester, those areas, not Woonsocket, not Pawtucket, not Central Falls, okay, not densely populated areas. You'd have to be in a rural district. If you don't know, because in certain areas, there are parts of a city or town that are in a rural district and others that may not be. Give me a call, 401-409-5030, and I will let you know if your home is in one of those areas that qualifies for a USDA loan. Okay, so that's an option, and a lot of people, even a lot of lenders, aren't aware of this program that the USDA has that's available for homeowners. Okay, but I am, and I can provide you with some information that will be helpful for that. Now, another program that we have is what's called a Title I Home Improvement Loan Program. Now, this is a federal initiative. It's administered by HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and it's available nationwide, including Rhode Island. Okay, it's designed to help homeowners and renters finance improvements to their property, especially when traditional home equity loans aren't an option. Okay, so for some reason, your home or you do not qualify for a 203K loan, let's say, or another rehab loan that a lot of mortgage lenders have. The Title I program, it covers home improvements, repairs, property upgrades, for example, a roof replacement, accessibility modifications, energy efficiency upgrades, etc. So let's say your boiler is ready to poop the bed and you want to put it on the market, but it's not working and we're getting into cold weather. Well, this would be an option for you. Now, the loan type, this is important. This is an unsecured personal loan. What that means is no home equity is required. So let's say, hypothetically, you purchase your house and then you got a second mortgage. So let's say your loan to value, you only have 5% equity. Okay, that's unlikely now, but let's say that you only have 5% equity. For a single family home, you may be eligible for up to $25,000 to take care of these home improvements, repairs, property upgrades, etc. If it's a multifamily property, yes, multifamily properties can access this program too, up to $60,000. Okay, and there are limits per unit, so figure roughly 20 grand per unit. Okay, and the repayment terms can be up to 20 years. Okay, so this is to be eligible, you have to be a homeowner. Some renters can access this if you get landlord approval. There's no minimum equity. Okay, so when you're buying a home, there's something that's called loan to value. Most conventional loans, it's 20% down, 80% loan, so their loan to value is 80. Okay, commercial loans, it's 75, which means the down payment has to be 25%. On an FHA mortgage, where you're putting 3.5% down, it's 96.5 for the loan to value. So the loan is 96.5% of the value of the property. So if you're buying a $100,000 property, the loan can go up to $96,500, $96,500. Okay, that's what the loan to value is. So with a Title I loan, there's no minimum equity required. Now, while Title I loans, they're federally backed, Rhode Island Housing does not list Title I loans among its core offerings. So they have something else. Okay, they have what are called First Gen Home RI, $25,000 in forgivable down payment assistance for first generation home buyers. So that means if no one in your family has owned a house before, you may qualify for this. There's also a Rhode Island statewide down payment assistance grant, which is up to $17,500 in down payment and closing cost assistance for first-time buyers. And then there's also a home renovation loan, which combines your purchase price and renovations into one mortgage. Okay, that's like the 203K FHA product is similar to that. Now, the Title I loan, this is something that you, in order to get this, you have to work with a HUD-approved lender in Rhode Island. And, guess what? We have one that is approved. Okay, one lender in Rhode Island is approved. This program is to apply for it, it's completely free. There's no equity or appraisal required. Any homeowner can apply. There's upfront funding, and the homeowner is turned into a cash customer. Get this, folks, within 10 days. Okay. This program is available at Shoreham Bank right here in Rhode Island. They are the only company that does it. You can borrow up to $100,000 with flexible loan terms, no prepayment penalties, low fixed rates. The interest may even be tax deductible. Minimum credit scores for the main buyer are 640. Okay. So now the interest rates that you're going to get, of course, you're not going to get, like today, the 30-year fixed is 6.3, the FHA is 6.03. Unless you have exceptional credit and you can afford to pay it back in a shorter term, you're not going to get a rate that competes with those interest rates that I just quoted. However, if you need to put a roof on your house, or you need to put a boiler in to keep the house warm, or you need to put carpets in to make it saleable, to get maximum dollars, this is an opportunity. Because, of course, you can finance it over $240 a month, but you're going to pay it off within 8 weeks, presumably, when you sell the house. Okay, so even if you are paying the highest interest rate that they offer, it doesn't matter because you're only going to pay it for a couple of months. Okay? So, you can get $25,000, $60,000, or with a single family home, maybe up to $75,000 with a specific project. This can only be used for outdoor structure type projects. Okay. Now, Shoreham Bank, they have fixed rates, nationwide lending, no equities required, as I said, no appraisals needed, as I said. Most projects will qualify. To find out, we'd have to have you sit down with Stephen Bro over at Shoreham Bank. And I'm actually, I was talking to Sean, my friend over at Sean Hogan, and he's a sales manager at Shoreham Bank. And I want to put together a class so that we can talk about this for homeowners, because I think there are probably a good number of folks out there who want to make upgrades or repairs to their home. Whether you want to sell it or not, where this could be beneficial. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. I'm going to try and put something together with Steve Bro and Sean Hogan, so we can offer this to consumers. And we'll either do it in person, because Shore and Bank, they are relocating. They have their new office right in Cumberland, Rhode Island, at 3261 Mendon Road, which is almost at the entrance. It's right near where Nate Whipple Highway comes into Mendon Road. It's actually directly across from Hero Boulevard in Cumberland. So they are in their new location. They're having their grand opening this week. Sean and Steve and I are going to put together something over the next period of time in the near future to basically explain this and offer this to consumers, to homeowners. Okay, even if you're a home buyer, let's say you're buying a home, and it's like, jeepers, I'd like to put a new boiler. I'd like to put in a nice patio. I'd like to put an outdoor kitchen, whatever it is. We might be able to help you with that during your home search and connect you with this Title I project so that everything can slide into place so it's nice and easy for you. Okay, folks, you're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show. It's about 27 minutes past the hour. We are right here at WNRI 99.9 on the FM dial, 1380 on the AM dial, and streaming at WNRI.com. I want to do a quick shout out to Anthony Betancourt and Compass Title and Escrow. They're helping us with buyers and sellers. They do a fantastic job basically managing expectations, identifying potential brush fires, air quotes, brush fires that could disrupt the sale, and keeping everything on track. Okay, they do a great job of that for us. And then, of course, Vern Rainville, Public Insurance Adjuster. Vern, if you have a claim, or think you may have a claim against your homeowner's policy, give Vern a call, 484-300-8495. Again, 484-300-8495. Vern Rainville is licensed by the state of Rhode Island to be a public insurance adjuster. That means he works for the homeowner, not the insurance company. The homeowner, okay? So you give him a call. He'll get back to you within 24 hours of you leaving a message. And he, I guarantee you, will impress the heck out of you because he's super knowledgeable and smart, and he can assess a situation and a potential claim faster than, you could get anyone else there. And I caution anyone, if you do have a claim, do not call your insurance company first, because they're going to want to send their insurance adjuster out right away to cut you a check right away. So you will just accept the amount of money they offer you and figure, I can get working and repairing this problem now. But you may need more money than that to take care of all of the damage that either may be coming down the line or that you can't see. Vern Rainville, he can help you with that. Okay, he's seen thousands of problems, thousands, and he'll be able to identify potential issues or ask questions to help identify potential issues that you never would have thought of. And of course, that the insurance adjuster working for the insurance company would never share with you. Okay, so give Vern a call, 484-300-8495. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Okay. So, you own a home. You want to do something to add value to it. We're talking about the Title I loan. Okay. I mentioned earlier there's also that USDA loan. But it's very important as a homeowner that you do not spend too much money. Okay. I've had situations where sellers, they have siding on the home that's either coming off or splitting, nails are getting all backed out. And if you've got someone who's handy, or they can get, minor repairs done for hundreds of dollars, you're better off doing that, because I guarantee you, after a home inspection, the buyer is going to say, oh, we need $5,000 off to replace all of that siding. It may only be $500 of work that needs to be done. But now you're in a situation that you're under agreement, you need to move quickly, maybe you can't get the repairs done. when you work with an experienced full-time realtor like your humble host, we identify those issues up front so that you can have them taken care of. You know, if there are things, because as a listing agent, I work for you as seller. I would have a fiduciary obligation to you as seller to help you receive maximum value for your home. Okay? Maximum value for your home. Now, but Joe, what if something happens and you know about it? Do you share that with the buyer or the buyer's agent, even if they're friends? No, I can't because I represent the seller. Now, if they ask me a question about something, I have to answer honestly. Now, if they ask me a question like, what's the crime in this neighborhood, Joe? I have no idea. I'm a real estate guy, but if that's important to you, call the police department up. They can give you the crime statistics for this neighborhood. Joe, what's the condition of the boiler? If I know, I would have to craft an answer that provided it was an accurate representation of the information that I know, as opposed to not telling the truth. Can't obfuscate, can't, twist things around. Well, I don't know because the boiler hasn't been serviced in a while, as we can tell from the service tag. But I would encourage your home inspector, or if you want to have a boiler guy come in and look at it, more than happy, to have you do that. Okay, I can't misrepresent the truth. I can't change reality. I still have to represent my seller, but I have an ethical obligation and a legal obligation to tell the truth. Okay? Folks, you are listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI, 99.9 FM, 1380 on the AM dial, and WNRI.com. We stream 24/7. Just check us out, WNRI.com. You can even listen to us if you have a smartphone. You can plug it into the car, pull us up, and you can listen to us no matter how far away you are from the great city of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. You can listen to WNRI. Now, folks, we've been talking about a lot of things regarding preparing to sell your home, programs that are available, preparing to buy a home, things that are available that you may not know about, that the real estate professional you're working with may not know about. I've been in the business. I've been a realtor since 2006, almost 20 years. So I've been through a couple of business, ups and downs. I've been literally in thousands of homes. And there's not much I haven't seen in a house, okay? I have not encountered a dead human body in a home, but I've encountered everything else, along the way. Everything else along the way. So, if you have any questions about anything, there's no obligation. All you have to do is give me a call at 401-409-5030. And I'll answer your question. Of course, I'm in the business of selling homes, so I would love to help you if you're a buyer or if you're a seller who's selling and then you need to buy. I can help you on both counts. Okay? I'd be more than happy to show you how we work, the programs, the systems I have in place so that you can receive maximum value. And what I try to do for my clients is I try to eliminate or reduce the amount of stress that you're going through, because even if it's a perfect transaction, it's stressful. You're moving all of your stuff, all of your memories, if you have kids and family, from point A to point B. If you're selling point A, then it's extra stressful because you've got to get everything done on point A, get that all cleaned up, and then you've got to move into house B that may not be as clean as what you're moving from. Okay, it may be, it may not be, but it's stressful. Okay, you've got to get the kids in new schools. You've got to find a new way the most efficient way to drive to work. You've got to get the utilities turned off and turned on. These are the things that I can help with. Okay, my team, we have sheets we hand out. remind you everything to make it easier. We try to deal with surprises early on so they don't become issues at the end. And if they do, if there are things that happen right at the end, we do the best to, again, protect you and your home purchase and your home sale. Okay? And that's why I try to get people to start the process as early as possible, whether you're buying or whether you're selling. Okay? I had someone come in the office last week. They want to buy a house, and he can't because he just started his new job in July. So he's got to have at least 1 year of employment before we can find him a home. So he's going to stay where he is. He's going to continue renting. Now we're going to converse. We're going to work together to help him improve his credit. Okay, even if you have good credit, you want to try and get excellent credit. So what things can this individual do to get to excellent credit? Because that will help him save money every month by getting a lower monthly payment on the home. Help him save money for an extra, to increase the down payment or to put money towards closing costs, so you have more options. Okay, so these are the things that we try to do to prepare people. Even if the worst case scenario, you can't buy a house now, we're going to basically leverage the time to work to your benefit. If you're thinking about selling, again, the earlier you think about selling, give me a call, because I'll send you several things to do. Even if it's just assessing your home, you can do it yourself. If you want me to come by, I will. But there are certain checkpoints, things that you need to do. Because if you can make little repairs that avoid expensive repairs down the road, that's great. If there are little things you can do, spend a little bit of money to make things look better, to increase value, let's get them done. Fixing downspouts, okay? Directing the water more than 4 feet away from the foundation. Soft washing, the siding of your home. Vinyl siding, aluminum siding. That way you don't have that green or black growth on the exterior of the home. Trimming the shrubs. These are all things that can be done. Start early enough. Now, you may not be trimming the shrubs now. Maybe you're going to trim them. We'll say, okay, let's trim them in the spring. That's a better time. But again, we want to put together a plan so we can plan our work, and then we'll work our plan so there aren't surprises. Because invariably, even if there aren't any major surprises, when you leave things for the last minute, it's stressful. It's stressful. And for every additional person besides yourself that is relocating, that's moving, the stress goes up sequentially. Okay? So a little bit of planning can help keep everyone in line, manage stress. Worst case scenario, as your realtor, I can shield you from unnecessary stress. Now, it's a two-way street. We have to be honest and loyal with each other. So when I ask questions, or when you ask questions, we need to be honest with our answers to each other. I can't just tell you what you want to hear. Well, Joe, I'm going to paint my house. I want to get an extra $50,000 for it now. Okay, you may want that, but the market isn't going to support it. Because what I try to do is deal with reality and the data that the market provides. And then I utilize my experience and my expertise to make calculations so that you can receive maximum value on the purchase or on the sale side. Okay, and there's a little bit of an art, okay, because when pricing a house, lots of times, depending on where the house is, okay, the kind of house this is, where it's located, we're probably going to be getting an FHA buyer, and we need to price it appropriately so that if the buyer needs to ask for closing costs to be worked into the loan, that the house will still appraise. Okay, so you can't, a lot of times, you don't want to go to like maximum value, because then it's not going to appraise, and then what happens is, all right, now we've got to negotiate something with the seller and between the seller and the buyer. Okay, so we try and factor that in, and then of course when I'm representing a client as buyer, I try to provide all of the data that's out there that supports the buyer paying as little as possible for the home. Now, again, I've been in the business since 2006, so I'm aware of a lot of different things that could adversely impact the value of a home. Also, a lot of it has to do with kind of like a sixth sense, reading the situation, trying to determine the seller's situation. And if there's something, by just having a conversation with the listing agent or making observations about the home when walking through, if there's something I can identify that I think we could leverage in our negotiations to the benefit of my buyer, we're going to do that. If I were the listing agent in that case, I'm very cautious with what I talk about as the listing agent, and then I would also advise the seller to remove things, if possible, that could potentially give the buyer or the buyer's agent an opportunity to gain leverage over the seller. Now, in a perfect world, everybody listens to their realtor and we don't have problems. In reality, not everybody listens. Okay? When it comes to setting price, when it comes to making negotiations, sometimes people, they just flat out decline. Sometimes they just continue to, ignore or obfuscate. And, it is what it is. I can't force people to behave in a certain way. I can only provide what the evidence that, the data that the market supports. Okay? Either on the buyer side or on the seller side. Folks, you're listening to the Joe Luca Real Estate Show right here on WNRI 99.9 on the FM dial, 1380 on the AM dial, and streaming at WNRI.com. Shout out to Anthony Betancourt and Compass Title and Escrow for being a sponsor of this show. We appreciate their support. And of course, Vern Rainville, Public Insurance Adjuster, 484-300-8495, 484-300-8495. Vern Rainville. Call him. If you leave a message, he'll get back to you within 24 hours. Vern is a Rhode Island guy, and he understands our marketplace. But you have to give him a call at 484-300-8495. Now, insurance, it's important when you're buying a home to work with a reliable insurance agent. I suggest that my buyers, I always refer them, I give them 1, 2, or 3 names of local insurance agents. And typically, they work with a number of insurance companies. I try to discourage people from using national insurance companies where you only call an 800 number. You never can get someone at a local office on the phone. Because believe me when problems arise and you need the insurance company and there's no one local that you can go and knock on their door, it gets very frustrating very quickly. And when it's a situation where you've got water pouring in, through your roof, or God forbid you had a fire or a car drove through the front or whatever it is, you need an insurance company that is going to be responsive. And if you have someone local, okay, we have Marcus Alves and Jeremy and from Jason Zambrisi from Comparion Insurance. We also work with LaPlante. Okay, there are a lot of different companies, locally owned companies that I can refer you to. They do a great job. But again, I provide the information. You as a consumer have to, take me up, accept the information that I'm providing. Okay. So, folks, it's about 5 minutes before the hour. Again, we talked about it, just a quick review. If you are looking to get ready to sell your home, you have options available even if you don't have the money. Even if you don't have a lot of equity in your home, we have options available to you, and I can help you find those options that best suit you. But you have to give me a call at 401-409-5030, or text me there, 401-409-5030. Give me 24 hours to get back to you, but I will get back to you within 24 hours. If, excuse me, you are a home buyer or a prospective home buyer, we have people that we work with to help you get down payment assistance, if they're loans, if they're grants, so help you get loans so that you can make repairs to your home even after you purchase it, or you get the money right when you purchase it. We can help you out with that. And if you're a homeowner, oh, we have a caller. Hold on one second, right at the end of the show. Bear with me here. Okay. Hello, caller. This is Joe. How can I help you? Hey, Matt. I would I would turn the radio, keep the phone on, turn the radio off. Okay, then just let's go what we're doing.
My question is, selling, well, my home, my parents' home, and it was in a trust. And the thing I want to ask a question about is there's a side yard, which I believe is a buildable lot.
Yep.
And that would add a lot of value.
Yeah, absolutely. It could add a lot of value. Now, even if it's not a buildable lot, so let's say it's not big enough to do a subdivision, you may be able to put an accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, on there. Okay, that's basically an addition or modifying part of the interior of the home, so it's like a little mini apartment, like an in-law. Okay, and that adds a lot of value to your home. Okay. Now, when you say the real estate people, you mean real estate agents, like realtors? Okay. Yeah.
It's a corner lot, and then there's 121 feet of frontage one way and 130 something the other way.
All right, so that's a good sized lot. It's over a 10,000 square foot lot. That's good. What town are you in?
I'm in North Smithfield.
Okay.
So, if they were to dig deeper and research that, which I keep trying to say the powers that be, because I'm just a dumb grunt, to do that, that would add a lot more value to the property, and my other, I'll be as succinct as I can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hello? Are you still there? I can't hear anything if you're still there. So you were saying, so he lives in North Smithfield, has his parents' house, corner lot, at least 10,000 square feet, 120 feet on one side, 130 feet on the other side. Based on that, okay, it appears they may qualify for an accessory dwelling unit that's attached to the home. Okay, you can't do a separate structure. Are you still there? Okay, I can't hear you. Your voice is really soft. Okay, there you go. Good. Okay, so I'm sorry. So say that again. Okay, keep talking. All right, keep talking. I hear you. Yep. Well, having a corner lot, that doesn't make a difference. Is right. Yeah, there were paper streets. I mean, you could do you don't need to determine, if you could put in okay, maybe turn the volume on the radio down and just listen on the phone. Or turn the radio off and just talk to me on the phone. But I'll talk until, yeah, that might be better. Yeah, that would be better. Okay? So you could determine, you could just go to town hall, because if your lot is at least 100 by 100, that's 10,000 square feet, so you can put an accessory dwelling unit that's attached to the house on your lot. And I'm just realizing it's 7:01. We're running out of time here. I'm going to turn this over to Rick. The news is coming on. Give me a call at 401-409-5030, and I'll certainly 401-409-5030, and I will give you the skinny. Yep, 401